Respect isn't taken by yelling. It's claimed by making people fear the cost of disrespecting you. You're in a meeting. You present an idea. Sharp, clear, powerful. The room falls silent. Then someone else repeats it, word for word, but louder. Suddenly, they get the credit. They get the nod. They get the respect that should have been yours. You smile. You nod. But inside, you shrink. You question your worth. The room forgets who spoke first. This isn't a mistake. It's a system. A system that rewards noise over value, presence over truth. Have you ever felt that slow erosion of identity just because you were polite? Let me tell you what no one dares to admit. The world doesn't listen to brilliance. It listens to impact. It doesn't follow kindness. It follows gravity. And if you don't command gravity, you become weightless in their eyes. Powerful people don't ask for attention. They radiate force. Not because they're loud, but because their silence feels dangerous. You don't need fame. You don't need money. You don't need beauty. You need strategy. You need pressure. You need presence. Because respect isn't given, it's taken. Psychologically, deliberately, sometimes ruthlessly. So let me ask you, when you walk into a room, does it feel like something just shifted? Or do they keep scrolling, like you never existed? Today, I'll show you 6 psychological weapons, not tricks, weapons, each designed to make them stop, think, and ask themselves, who the hell is that? Weapon 1. The first 5 seconds, the thin slice of power. Before you speak, before you sit, before you smile, you're already being judged. You have 5 seconds. That's all. It's called the thin slice, a subconscious snapshot the brain takes and locks in forever. You think you're being evaluated for your ideas, your effort, your character. You're not. You're being evaluated for the signal you send in those first 5 seconds. And that signal, it's written in posture, in clothing, in presence. Most people fail this test because they dress to survive, not to dominate. They dress to blend in, not to be remembered. Let me be clear. This isn't about fashion. This is about war. Visual war. Psychological war. You don't need to look expensive. You need to look deliberate, strategic, unapologetic. Look at Napoleon. 5 feet 6 inches. Average frame. But when he walked into a room, all eyes locked onto him. He wore bright military uniforms, trimmed in gold. A dramatic hat, tilted at just the right angle. His clothes weren't for function. They were for effect. He wasn't dressing to be comfortable. He was dressing to command perception. And perception? Perception is power. So let me ask you, when people see you, do they see a man who walks into space or a man who bends it? Most people fear standing out because standing out invites judgment. But here's the truth. You'll be judged either way. The only question is, will that judgment build you or bury you? Here's the move. Dress 1 level sharper than the environment expects. Not flashy, precise. Your clothes should whisper, I don't belong here. I'm above this, and I'm just visiting. It's not about brand. It's about fit, structure, lines, intent. Because when they see you, before they know your name, they're already deciding how to treat you. And if you let them start from a place of doubt, you'll be clawing back their respect for the rest of the conversation. Don't just enter the room. Make the room recalibrate. Let the lighting feel different. Let the silence adjust itself around you. That's the first battlefield. And if you win it, they lean forward. If you lose it, they won't hear a word that follows. Weapon 2, posture, the silent declaration of self-worth. Now that they've seen you, the next question is simple. Will you shrink or will you claim your territory? Because posture is a matter of comfort. It's a declaration of self-worth. And most people are already defeated by the way they sit. Look around. Folded arms, bent necks, crossed legs, shrinking shoulders. They're not relaxed, they're retreating. Your body speaks louder than your words. And the first thing it says is, I don't belong here. But powerful people, they speak with their spine. Their shoulders roll back. Their chest is open. Their feet are grounded. They don't fidget, they occupy. They don't fold, they expand. Not to intimidate, but to declare, I exist, And I do not ask for permission. Think of Steve Jobs. Black turtleneck, simple jeans. But when he stepped on stage, he moved like gravity followed him. Not fast, not aggressive, just intentional, grounded, unbothered. That's presence. And presence begins with space. Here's the move. When you sit, take the full chair. Don't collapse. Don't tuck your hands in. When you stand, plant your feet slightly apart. Let your arms move when you speak, not wildly, but like every gesture is calculated because it is. And the next time you walk into a room, power breathe. Roll your shoulders once. Lift your chin. Let your rib cage rise. Just that subtle shift, and people feel it. You didn't say a word, but you just became the one they won't interrupt. Because posture isn't about how you feel. It's about how others feel in your presence. Let me ask you, do you fold into the room, or do you bend the room around you? Because you can't fake this. Your nervous system broadcasts your status before your voice does. And when your body says, I am nothing, your words don't stand a chance. Weapon 3, touch, the ancient language of influence. Once you've claimed space with your body, there's another battlefield most ignore, the space between skin, the space where connection becomes control. It's time to weaponize touch. Most people are terrified of touch. They flinch, they pull away, they overthink, and in doing so, they sever the most ancient form of influence. Touch is the first language we ever knew, before words, before logic, before reason. And yet now, we treat it like a liability. But man who understands touch understands control, because touch creates trust, builds familiarity, lowers defenses faster than speech ever could. Let me show you how. When you shake someone's hand, do it with full presence. Hold it like it matters. Not a grip of desperation, but a grip of command. When you speak, place a hand on their forearm for half a second. Not long, not intimate. Just enough to remind them you're not just words. You're real. Most people wave. Most people nod. They keep their distance like their skin is a boundary. But leaders, they don't build boundaries. They break them. Oprah knows this. She doesn't just talk, she reaches. Hand to shoulder, palm to back. Connection instantly established. Touch is how you bypass the filter. Straight to the emotional core, but only if you do it right. Here are the rules. 1. Touch only neutral zones, hands, forearms, upper back. Nothing else. 2. Keep it short, under 5 seconds. The moment it lingers, it turns from trust attention. 3. Be universal. Don't touch only the one you're attracted to. Touch everyone equally. You're not flirting. You're anchoring presence. 4. Watch reactions. If someone leans back, stop. Your awareness is part of your control. Never be the fool who invades space without sensing the shift. Because when you use touch carelessly, it's no longer connection. It's contamination. But when you do it with mastery, you don't just influence the room, you own the nervous system of every person in it. Let me ask you, when was the last time someone touched you in a way that didn't ask for anything, but made you feel safe, seen, shifted? Now imagine being the one who creates that feeling, effortlessly, strategically, powerfully. Because when done right, a single touch can speak louder than 1,000 speeches. Continued in part 2, Weapons 46. Voice control, praising the enemy and weaponizing weakness. Comment below, which weapon will you sharpen first? Write the flaw you'll reclaim. Write the silence you'll no longer allow. Write the part of you that was once hidden and now becomes your throne. Because respect isn't something you wait for. It's something you build into your body, your tone, your silence. And the ones who forget that, eventually, they answer to those who didn't. The silent power of command. Part 2, mastering the psychological weapons of respect. Continued from part 1, Weapons 13. The first 5 seconds, posture and touch. Weapon 4, voice control. The art of uninterrupted authority. Don't be fooled. Even the most precise touch can be undone the moment you let your voice be silenced. Most people lose power not by what they say, but by what they allow to be interrupted. They speak. They get cut off. They stop. They smile. They nod. They shrink. And in that moment, they don't just lose the sentence, they lose the room. Let me be clear. Every time you let someone talk over you, you send a signal, a silent submission. And once they sense that, you're no longer a speaker. You're background noise. Think about it. How many times have you been in a conversation, building toward a point, when someone jumps in louder, changing the direction completely, and you just let them, because you didn't want to seem rude, because you wanted to be polite. But in power games, politeness without strength is suicide. Here's the move. You don't interrupt back. You don't raise your voice in panic. You simply keep talking. Slightly louder, slightly slower, unmoved. You speak with a tone that says, I was not finished. And you finish. Well, Smith does this masterfully in interviews. When others jump in, he doesn't flinch. He just becomes more present. His words grow heavier. His tempo slows. And people go quiet. Russell Brand, too. He gets interrupted constantly, but his rhythm never breaks. He doesn't compete. He dominates by ignoring the chaos and finishing the thought. That's power, not aggression, just unbothered command. Let me ask you, when was the last time you finished your sentence, even when someone tried to cut it short? Because how you handle interruption is how you teach the world to treat your voice. This doesn't mean talking over people. That's insecurity. It means not letting anyone pull you off track, not giving away your momentum, not handing them the steering wheel of your sentence. And in group settings, this becomes critical because the room is watching. They're deciding who bends and who holds a frame. And if you bend too easily, they'll never take your words seriously again. But once you master this, once your voice becomes a blade, sharp, steady, and uninterrupted, you move beyond dominance. You become someone who doesn't chase the spotlight. You become the spotlight itself. Weapon 5, praising the enemy, the ultimate power move. Here's a move most people are too weak to use. Complimenting the enemy. It sounds insane. Why would you uplift someone who might outshine you? Why would you praise someone who threatens your position? Because only those who fear comparison avoid giving credit. And fear? Fear is always the loudest weakness in the room. Real power doesn't need to insult. Real power doesn't feel threatened. Real power acknowledges strength and then calmly rises above it. Jordan Peterson, deeply religious, doesn't mock atheism. He praises the brilliance behind it. Centuries of thought, thousands of minds. He names the strength before defending his own. And because of that, even his enemies respect him. Barack Obama at John McCain's funeral. Political rivals, different worldviews. But when Obama spoke, he didn't gloat, he honored. And in doing so, he elevated himself. This isn't about being soft. This is about being unshakable. Because when you can praise your competitor, you signal that you are beyond the game. Let me ask you, could you compliment someone who's currently winning over the person you love? Could you lift someone who's climbing higher than you? Could you do it and still feel like you lost nothing? That's power. Because it shows you're not competing, you're leading. But beware, this move only works when it's sincere. Calculated? Yes, but real. In the workplace, praising a colleague's success doesn't lower you. It shows you operate from abundance, confidence, control. In dating, if you trash the person your crush admires, you look insecure, small, and you've already lost. Not because they like the other person, but because you just made yourself replaceable. Now, there are exceptions. Muhammad Ali, Conor McGregor. They insulted everyone, but they wrapped it in charisma, performance, humor. They were artists of insult. Unless you can do exactly that, you're better off using admiration as a weapon. Because when you praise your enemy, you plant confusion. You shift the power dynamic. You become the one who defines the battlefield, even while standing beside your rival. Machiavelli understood this. A prince who praises the strength of others expands his own dominion. Because the moment they feel seen by you, they lose the urge to destroy you. And once you no longer fear the strength of others, you can begin to use your weakness as a weapon no one saw coming. Weapon 6. Weaponizing weakness. Turning flaws into unbreakable armor. You were taught to hide your flaws, to bury your wounds, to pretend you're stronger than you are. But what if I told you Your flaw is your sharpest blade. If you wield it right, weak people conceal. They build a false front. They smile through shame. They project perfection. And deep down, they tremble because they know if anyone sees behind the mask, it all collapses. But powerful people, they don't protect the mask. They burn it. They name their flaws loudly, clearly, without fear. Because once you name the wound, no one can use it against you. Think of Eminem in 8 Mile, Final Battle. He takes the mic and lists every insult his enemy could throw. White trash, poor, abused, alone. He says it all first, with force, with pride. And in that moment, his opponent has nothing left. The battle ends not with attack, but with complete ownership. Brad Pitt does it too, on stage, accepting awards, joking about being high, shirtless, divorced. The crowd doesn't mock him. They laugh with him because he owns a narrative. Here's the move. 1, say it simply. No apology. No performance. No nervous laugh at the end. Say it and leave it hanging in the air like smoke. 2, or say it with humor, but sharpen the humor like a dagger. Let them laugh, but remind them you're still in control. When you say, yes, I failed, and then don't flinch, you gain more respect than a lifetime of pretending. Because now, they can't insult you. You've already stripped the weapon from their hands. You've shown your chest and dared them to aim. That's not vulnerability. That's warfare. Machiavelli never said, be flawless. He said, control your image, even if that image bleeds. So let me ask you, what flaw will you reclaim first? What wound will you stop hiding? Not to be pitted, but to show the world that you survived. Because the one who exposes his weakness cannot be exposed. And once you reach that level, where even your scars obey you, you become the one thing the world can't break. Not perfect, invincible. The final oath, commanding respect without apology. Now the weapons are laid out, but the war has just begun. It's time for your oath. From this moment forward, you are not here to be liked. You are here to be understood without needing to explain. You are not here to be seen. You are here to shift the air when you enter. You will no longer shrink for comfort. You will no longer ask for space. You will no longer explain your energy to those who haven't earned it. You will walk like silence follows you. You will speak like every word costs blood. You will treat your flaws as scars etched in steel, not skin. This is your oath. I do not wait to be respected. I command it. With presence, with posture, with patience, and when necessary, with war. Let the world feel uneasy when I'm quiet. Let them question themselves when I speak. Let my name be spoken carefully, because I am no longer here to fit in. I'm here to take psychological space. And if they forget who I am, they'll remember the consequences. Now tell me, which weapon will you sharpen first? Comment below, not to be clever, not to impress, but to declare. Write the flaw you'll reclaim. Write the silence you'll no longer allow. Write the part of you that was once hidden, and now becomes your throne. Because respect isn't something you wait for. It's something you build into your body, your tone, your silence. And the ones who forget that, eventually they answer to those who didn't.